morning, Spiritual Life Center, and welcome to this Sunday morning experience. We know you're in the right place at the right time, so let's go ahead and sing about that right now. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome. Your souls are welcome. Our souls are welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul, I'm getting the message. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
Well, good morning, Reverend Deborah. Your soul is welcome here, as is all of ours.
And good morning, Reverend James, and it's good to be up on the platform with you. And we greet you this morning in the name of all that is good, all that is holy, and all that is sacred, and in the warm and loving energy of this community, Spiritual Life Center. Spiritual Life Center honors all people worshiping in mosques, temples, churches, stone circles, and of course, the beautiful temples of nature, because we know that there is no space that God does not grace. And if you're with us for the very first time today, either online or here in person, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you're not here by accident. Every single one of us is here by
Divine appointment.
And we're always so excited to see everyone. And we're also very excited when you silence your electronic devices. And please refrain from flash photography during the service.
Now that we have that clearing, that open space, let us connect to the presence and the power and love of pure spirit. And know that we live and move and have our very beingness in this presence. And this presence may be beyond words, beyond human description, but it is so very real, for it's the foundation of everything that we see. And it contains everything we could ever hope for, want, or desire. The peace that passes all understanding, the health, the vitality, the vigor. And as we come under its guidance and its government, then we begin to think from this awareness, speak from this awareness, and act from this awareness. So we can say without a doubt that when you see me or any of us, you see the same presence from which we have come. And as we come from this presence, we anchor more of this in our life and in our world. So we're grateful to let God be God in us. the song says, God needs us to shine God's light, and we're here to let our light so shine that they see the truth of our being. For this and so much more, we're grateful and thankful as we go forth doing our part to expand and radiate the all good. Amen. Well, we have a very important purpose here at Spiritual Life Center as reflected in our mission statement. And I invite you to join in as we affirm it together. To transform lives as we love, serve, and remember. And we do so as we embody and incorporate these 5 basic principles in all that we do to the best of our ability. Again, let's affirm them together. God is absolute good and everywhere present. People are inherently good. Thoughts create our experiences. Prayer and meditation are how we connect with God.
And we must take action. And Shirley Brown had some great action here with the flowers that she did for us. She does every first Sunday of the month. Thank you, Shirley, for the beautiful altar flowers. Our Light the World Gala was Friday night. How many people?
Yes, we had a fabulous time.
We had an absolutely fabulous time. We raised over $11,000, and we still have the auction and some other things to go, so we're still in process. And we could not have done this without a lot of help from a lot of people, and here are just some of them. Our global sponsors were Josie Johnson and Tom Rose. This was supposed to be at the end, but it's thank you to all gala sponsors and volunteers.
Yes.
Cheryl Gosh was bartender extraordinaire again, and the desserts were Carol Mercer and Diane Piper. And the appetizers were Tom and Judy Chrisman and Bill Skipworth, and they were also great deliverers of the product as well. And yes, so, and that's all of them, isn't it? Yes, okay, thank you. So the full list of sponsors and volunteers and donors is on our website, and stay tuned for the auction and for raffles, and there's just a lot more coming, so.
Yes, more to be revealed.
Absolutely.
More good stuff. Well, I invite to join our members of the Board of Trustees next Sunday, October the 9th at 1 o'clock by Zoom for a new member orientation. If you're new here at Spiritual Life Center or interested in finding out what that's about, and you can discover what community membership is about and if it's right for you. If you are new to Spiritual Life Center, this is an opportunity to learn more about SLC, which may help you decide if you want to embark on this spiritual journey and to fulfill your full partnership with our community. So you can RSVP on our website or just simply show up next week. We're going to be able to connect with you about our community member orientation.
And we have plenty of tricks and treats being stirred up in the cauldron for our upcoming Trick or Treat Cabaret. How many people either attended or were part of the last cabaret? Well, we're going to do it again with a Halloween theme, and today is the last call, well, tomorrow is the last call for participants. If you'd like to present something at the cabaret, contact Paula Mandela at pmandela@slcworld.org. And then registration will be to attend begin next Sunday, October 9th. But the signing up for doing something ends tomorrow afternoon. So if you want to do something, call Paula.
One of the things that we do at Spiritual Life Center as a community is give to other organizations in our community that are making a difference in people's lives. And that's done through our community giving partnership. So each month we have a recipient that receives funds from us to carry out their mission. And to introduce today's organization that we're partnering with, I invite Brittany to come forward and to share a little bit about it.
Good morning.
Morning.
In person and online. Grateful to be here. And I'm really grateful to the Sacramento Native American Health Center for the services that they provide. They offer holistic, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for everyone, and especially the underserved. So, how do we become our highest and best self if we are unwell? We say that we are spiritual beings living a human experience, and that includes being in these earth suits that we call bodies. So many of us have no access to health care or have poor care. And as someone who has dealt with the healthcare industry since I was very young with medical issues, coming to Sacramento Native American Health Center was the first time I felt like I was a human being and treated with compassion, and it's really transformed my lives. The money that we are donating to them is earmarked for a clinic that they are opening up in South Sacramento, which is going to be really critical to the patients that they serve. So, Reverend James talks about, and he talked about this on the September 18th message that if you haven't seen, I highly encourage you to watch. He talks about activating that divine presence within, and that we all have spiritual vision. How do we transform the world? Through that activation of what's within. So they are an integral part in being able to help us transform the world. So thank you.
Yeah. So welcome John Lopez, who is from SNAP.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. My name is John Lopez. I'm the communications coordinator at the Sacramento Native American Health Center. You might hear me refer to it as SNAC. It's a fun little way that we have to tell people, and it's easier and less of a mouthful to say, So I just want to talk about a little bit about what we do. We offer a wide variety of services from medical, dental, behavioral health. We have mental health services. We have a podiatrist. The reason why I love SNAC so much and why I love working there and why I chose to work there was because of my boss, Janine Gaines, who is the communications manager at SNAC. She is in love with the community. She loves showing out for the community and doing the absolute best work that she can. And it's not even just her, it is top down from everyone that I work with that loves the community. And having that type of energy around me all the time only makes me want to do the best possible work that I can. One of my favorite parts about SNAC is that, outside of just physical health, we offer a lot of other programs. One of my favorite programs is called EAGLES, and it's an acronym that stands for Early Ages Gathering to Learn Empathy Through Storytelling. So it's for children ages 5 to 12 that are Native American / Alaska Native. They get to learn about how to actually deal with their emotions, and they get to see that in real time through these stories and metaphors through animals. And as we move, as we open up this new site in South Sac where we're going to have a youth and family space, the generous donation that SLC has given us is going to allow us to have more programs like this and impact the community in so many ways, not just from a physical health standpoint. But we're starting with these kids that are 5 and 12 years old, 5 to 12 years old, and transforming their lives and helping them navigate life. Thank you so much for having me. You guys have been great.
Thank you, John. So on behalf of Spiritual Life Center, we go for this $1,000 check to support you and your mission and the work that you're doing. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. Yes.
Janae.
Oh, Janae, that's right. Okay, we're here standing here. What's next? And she's walking up here. I said, there should have been a clue. Janae has something to say to us from our youth and family ministry.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I mentioned last week that our beloved Michael is stepping down from our YOU, and we want to honor Michael today. Michael has served with our YOU and our youth ed for over 7 years. He's been our lead YOU sponsor for that entire time. And before COVID, he also helped with our younger kids in youth ed as well. The first time I met Michael, he was here with his wife, Lisa, and I had made an announcement that the teens were going to do the Blessing of the World Religion service. And so they came up and asked if Cameron could participate in that. They were brand new here. And I said, obviously, I said, of course. And I cannot begin to tell you how much this family has blessed Spiritual Life Center. Michael went on to be the lead sponsor, not only for Spiritual Life Center, but for the Western region. And also, he's an international YOU sponsor for the movement. His love and commitment has been felt by so many of our youth in this region. His commitment to love and to serve these kids has really been phenomenal. You've heard me say many times that our rallies are life-changing for our teens. And, you know, I was able to experience that because of Michael. Michael was raised in YOU, and he knew the power of rally. And so from the very beginning, he has taken every kid he possibly could to get to rally, just for them to experience it. And I can't tell you how life-changing that's been for so many of our youth. During the pandemic, we have regional officers. 2 are from our church this time around, but they work really hard to put these rallies on. And during the pandemic, it was all done over Zoom. And it's the same amount of work, and yet we were hardly having any kids participate because they were at school all day on Zoom and didn't want to be on Zoom all weekend as well. So as COVID started to subside, it was Michael who said, look, we have got to get these kids back together in person. And we really didn't have a way to do that, and so this man right here opened up his home, his whole family, opened up their home and their ranch, and we camped out there for the weekend, and we're able to do our spring and our fall rally at Michael's home. And let me tell you, that is, yes. Right? So, yes. Now, I'm not quite done yet. We're going to get a standing ovation here. I'm teasing. I know that we're going to see Michael around SLC, but Michael, just with my whole heart, I thank you for everything you've done for our kids, for your commitment, your stable and grounded energy that you've brought to the program, and for all the mentoring that you've done for me as well. We love you, and we wish you the best. And I know we're going to see you around, and we've got a couple of teens in the back. All of us, just our whole heart is grateful for you. Thank you.
And as you all know, we usually bring flowers to the departing person, but he works with the kids, so we thought wine would be a better way to do that.
So the part that Janae left out is at the rally, she slept in her car. So that's lots of good acts of kindness. So I really appreciate Spiritual Life Center. It's been a great place for my kids, Cameron and Liam, to grow up. And it was really welcoming. I remember the first day we came, and Pam came out, and you are welcome if you see Pam Peters. And it's just been a great place. Cameron's in the back doing the sound, and he's had lots of opportunities here. So I'm super thankful. We're just so blessed to be part of Spiritual Life Center. Thanks.
And you know, Michael mentioned it at first service, and I just wanted to mention it because this is one very talented musical family. They all play. And one of the reasons that Michael is stepping down is he is playing a lot more of his music on Sundays. And so we just wish you the best with that. We have cards out at the youth ed table. If you guys would like to leave a little love note for Michael, we would love that. Thank you, Michael. We love you. And I'd like us to stand up and to bless Michael in the way we always do. Michael.
We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold God's love as you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
And of course, we want to remind you that we have many activities going on during the weeks. There's small groups that meet during the week and lots of other things going on. So to discover all the happenings at SLC, obviously you can go to our website. If you're here on site, you can go out to the courtyard. There's a bulletin board that has all kinds of information. And of course, you can go over to the hub, talk to the hubettes, and they'll tell you anything you want to know.
It's a new group. All right. At this time, I invite the chaplains and any of the board members that are here to please stand. And the chaplains wear the white stoles. So if you have a prayer need or just want to celebrate something, the chaplain is available to pray with you right after the service in the courtyard. And we thank all chaplains that are part of our community for their consciousness and their contribution to our community. So thank you, any of the chaplains on duty today. And our board members do a lot of work behind the scenes. They bring their time, their talent, and their skills to help us move forward and navigate through, the terrain called church and spiritual community. And they bring a lot of who they are and their consciousness, and so we appreciate them. And if you have any questions that you ask of any of our board members, they're more than happy to answer them to the best of their ability. And we thank them for their work here at Spiritual Life Center.
We love to greet our newcomers, welcome our newcomers. So in a moment, we're going to ask you to raise your hand. But first, we want you to know that there are many ways to become connected at SLC. And one of the ways to do that is to fill out the welcome card. Now, that welcome card is available online, and you can go to our website and click on fill out the card and submit it, and then we will get back to you. If you're here on site, raise your hand and keep it up until we find you. Fill out the card, take it to the welcome table in the courtyard, and there is a special gift and a welcome for you.
So is anyone here for the very first time? We just invite you to raise your hand. Any first-timers here this morning? Seems like we may be all familiar with one another, but as I like to say, if we're better today than we were yesterday, we're still new. So we're new today. So I invite you to simply greet a friend or a neighbor in a manner that feels comfortable for you and just say, glad you are here. You are marvelous.
So this is where you're welcome to stay for the rest of the service, or if you don't want to sit in here, you don't have to. It's entirely up to you.
All right, a very exuberant group this morning. Thank you so much. Well, we are starting today our Faith in Action series based upon the book Divine Audacity. And not only do we have a lesson each week for 7 weeks, we also have one of our artists to present some artwork that is a artistic representation of the message for the week. And today, our artist is Louise Bizark. Many of us know her very well. You have fans. Anyway, this is what Louise writes about her artwork today. Linda Marcella Whitsed wrote, "New Thought teaching sometimes give the impression that we can get spiritual enough to eliminate all unwanted circumstances. This is not the purpose of spirituality, though. The greats, Jesus, Gandhi, Mandela, for example, never managed to eliminate unwanted circumstances. Instead, they walked through unwanted circumstances as the light of the world, expressing God, the one mind. Isn't this the example of how the juicy and plump caterpillar transforms to entomb itself into a seemingly lifeless cocoon, to surrender to process of cellular alchemy to emerge the glorious butterfly? The caterpillar does not think. It has no need to unlearn. It is society, family, religion, etc., that alter our knowing. When we practice, evolve, and unlearn, we surely can realize we are all the light of the world. Louise Bizarre, her words and her artwork.
Please stand and sing with us this bright light of mine. Here we go.
This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This bright light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All around the world.
All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Here at SLC.
Here at SLC, I'm gonna let it shine. Here at SLC, I'm gonna let it shine. Here at SLC, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it
As we take a breath now and prepare to go deeper, let us embody the words of our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet.
And now, sit back and relax in preparation for our meditation. Take in a deep breath, let it out, and sing along with us our meditation song.
I am as God created me, in the light, in
in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the love, as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. In the light, in the light, in the love, in the glory, I am. In the love and His glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. In the light, in the love, in the glory of God, I am. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory.
In the light, in the love, in the glory, I am as God created me. You are as God created you. We are as God created us. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, melt into your seat. Drop your shoulders. Now take another breath and let it all go. Breathe naturally. And now move your attention to the center of yourself, to the spot just to the right of your physical heart. Here you see just a pinpoint of light. It is so small that at first you're not sure it's there. And as you breathe, the light slowly grows into a small orb. And with another breath, into a medium-sized ball that continues to expand, but is still contained within your chest area. This light is your light. It gives you life. Your light is very real, not just something that you imagine. It is your essence. It is who you really are and has always been with you. And yet, there has long been a sense of separation. And so it is time for you and your light to become reacquainted. Introduce yourself to your own light. Here I am, you may say. I'd like to know you better. And now examine your light more closely. What does it look like? Can you touch it? What does it feel like inside your body? Can you hear it? Can you smell it? Does it have a taste, a flavor? Does your light interact with you or simply float inside your chest? Thank your light for this opportunity for you to become closer. And now shift your focus and slowly zoom back out so that you can see how your chest is filled with your light. In the next few breaths, release the light, allowing it to expand, filling your entire body. And with another breath, allow it to expand beyond you in every direction, to the left of you, to the right of you, in front of you, behind you, below you, above you. And then watch as all of our lights merge and fill the room. Our combined light expands beyond the building into the city and continues to grow and flow until it encompasses the entire planet in a brilliant flow of love and compassion as we sit in the silence. Light is all there is. Everything is light. Light is everything. It is always here, always supporting you, supporting all of the material world. And you feel gratitude for being a part of divine activity. Take a deep breath and slowly exhale as you begin to awaken to your body again as you receive this message. Oh, my beloved, you are a light unto the world. The world is a light unto you. It is all one. Thus, with each word, each thought, each breath, with everything that you are, you bring untold blessings into this world. Remember this, always.
upon you like smoke on the air. You can smell it and find yourself gone to a place that you live without worry or care. Isn't that where we all once came from? Green leaves and tall trees and the stars overhead, and the sound of the world through the trees. Now you sleep with the covers pulled over your head, and you never remember to dream. You think you're just standing still. One day you'll get up that hill. In the age of miracles, there's one on the way. Greenland is melting, the West is on fire, but don't ever stop praying for rain. It's a curious place between hope and desire. Different gods, but the prayer is the same. And I woke to find monks pouring into the streets, 1,000 strong into the rain. Well, if courage comes to rest in red robes and bare feet, I'll never be fearful again. And it seems we're just standing still. One day we'll get up that hill. In the age of miracles, there's one on the way. The past comes upon you like smoke on the air. You can smell it and find yourself gone to a place that you live without worry or care. Isn't that where we all once came from? And if I'm just standing still, one day I'll get up that hill. In the age of miracles, there's one on the way. One on the way. It seems we're just standing still. One day we'll ride up that hill. In the age of miracles, there's one on the way. One on the way. There's one on the way. One on the way. There's one on the way. One on the way.
Chris and Jennifer Enright, a dynamic duo, helping with the music today. Yes. Giving Paula a much-needed break. And then we have Dana. Dana, our new drummer. He's there. We're so blessed to have all of you. Well, it must have been about 10 o'clock p.m. on a Tuesday. It's quite a while ago. It was February 25th, 1964, 3 days past my birthday. It was well past my own bedtime. I had school the next day. But I was wide awake with anticipation. But it didn't matter about school because at that moment, what was most important, I had this very small transistor radio. I know I'm dating myself. I think it had 2 stations on it. And I had it to my ear. And I was listening with excitement and a little bit of trepidation. Because my sports hero, Muhammad Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, was about to fight Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship of the world on Miami Beach. And Liston was the most feared, intimidating boxer that probably existed, maybe of all time. And that night, Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, was an overwhelming underdog. And against all odds would go on to what he say, shake up the world. And he'd win that fight that night. Now for us young men, young boys at that time, particularly African-American men, he was more than just a great boxer. Someone who had tremendous skill and style and principle and charisma. He was an inspiration. He was an inspiration to people from all walks of life for decades to come. He was bold. He was infectious. And yes, he alienated some people. He converted to Islam. He changed his name. He protested the Vietnam War. But he was a light for so many people across the globe. He was indeed audacious and would proclaim, and I think he was the first person I ever heard use the I am principle so well, when he said, I am the greatest. And like I said, he was not without controversy during his time. He gave up his prime years to stand on his principles, but he became one of the most celebrated people across the planet, not just an athlete. And in my view, he was divinely audacious, as we all should be. I think anything less than that, anything to expressing the whole fullness of what we are as expressions of God, is a blaspheming the presence of God. He was such a light for me and many others. And I recall maybe 40 years later or so, I happened to be in Hollywood, California, driving down one of the streets, Hollywood Boulevard, I don't know. And I noticed on the sidewalk there's a crowd of people there. And they were all surrounding none other than Muhammad Ali himself. So I stopped on a dime, got out, elbowed all the little kids out of the way so I could just get close to him. For he's such a bright light, an audacious light. And although he's no longer with us, he left an indelible imprint on the consciousness across the globe, and it was an embodiment of my interpretation of divine audacity. So welcome to our first week of our Faith in Action series, Divine Audacity. It's based on the book of the same title by Linda Martello Winsett, who actually did a course, I think, for us a few months ago. And Linda describes divine audacity as bold spiritual living, in which one declares and affirms, I am divine. Because our nature is one with the nature of the power and the presence and the love of God itself. Understand with divine audacity that I am presence is a light of the world. That shines so brightly that when we begin to let it shine, that everyone around us has to wear shades even at night. So today we're saying with absolute faith, when anyone remembers their divine identity, there's true spiritual power, they can be a light. They can be a light to others around them. They help them remember who they are and guide them to heal the illusion of separation from the all-knowing, everywhere present presence known as the Force. So today's introductory topic to our Faith in Series series, we're here to remind ourselves that we're here to be that light. We indeed are that light of every man and woman that cometh into the world. Sometimes we paraphrase the words from the master teacher, Jesus, and we say, when you see me, you see God. And don't call me good. It is the God within me that is good. Sometimes we're the light. Sometimes we identify ourselves maybe as the light bulb. Sometimes as spiritual beings. Sometimes we're having a human incarnation. Of course, we're both at the same time. We're both the light and we are the light bulb. And I believe that we are here, particularly in these times, to up-level our wattage so that we can reveal more of what we really are. Because the light is positive energy. Such positive energy is highly contagious, it's uplifting. And I'm sure you've experienced a time when someone with that infectious positive energy walked into a room. And even before that person did or said anything, before you even knew who they were, you could feel an upliftment. You know, I had this experience many years ago. I was at a special event with the Dalai Lama. And they had invited a few of us after the major event to come to a brunch. And so it may have been about 100 people in the room. And we were all there waiting, you know, for him to come. And then he walked through the door. And you could feel an energy of some sort come over us. And I wasn't on anything at the time. But it's a reminder that we are here to be such lights. Because Jesus said, you know, not only was he the light, but he said, ye are the light. He didn't just say, I am the light. Or he didn't say, just give me a light. Don't give me a light course or bud or otherwise. He said, you are the light. And it doesn't have to be some bold superhero accomplishment. Sometimes a small light can do wonders for a dark room. It can light up the whole room. A small light that someone who's going through some dark times can make a huge difference in their life. I was reading an article the other day about, I just found out about a college basketball coach that I happen to know at my university. And the basketball coach is named Pete Carrill. Now, those involved in, you know, in the nuances of basketball, he was a savant of a coach. And those who knew him know that he invented something special that's been used in pros and as well as college called the Princeton offense. It's used on many levels. And after retiring as the head coach, he became the assistant coach for Sacramento Kings, I think, for a few years. He was with them in the late 90s, early 2000s. Because his former player, Jeff Petrie, then was an executive, and he knew them because he used to be one of his players. Anyway, recently, Pete Carrill made his transition. And there have been several articles written about Pete Carrill. And one was by his former player. And his former player was reminiscing about his experience with him. And that player said, you know, he wasn't very good. He never made a contribution of any significance to the team. He didn't play very much. And this player, whose name was Michael Flynn, shared that after his sophomore year, he decided to give up playing since he knew he wasn't going to be one of the top 12 players to make the team and travel with it. And he went on to say that the next year, in November, you know, his dad had passed away. He had pancreatic cancer. And he came back after the holidays to school, and he said he was feeling a little lost. And so he would go back to the gym where he was familiar with just to play some pickup games, whoever was there. And sometimes it might have been Pete Carrill himself who would play around. And Pete used to say, I don't mind playing with you because, you know, I'm like old and you're real slow, so it works out really well. They had a really good relationship like that. But he noticed that even though when he left the team, that Pete stayed in touch with him. And so he said he was going through an experience, and he said he went to Pete Carrill's office just to talk to him. And the coach asked him, well, how you doing? And he said he gave some fake response saying, oh, it's good to be back at school. But Pete Carrill sensed that Mike needed something. He did need something, even though he didn't know what it was. And the coach said to him, said, yo, Flinny. He called him Flinny. Sometimes he called him Jersey City because I think he was from Jersey City. Can you come down to the practice and help out with some of the younger kids? And because they don't really know the plays. He had a really complicated offense. And Mike said, I'm not sure. I haven't played in a while. But the coach insisted and said, I'll see you tomorrow. And Mike said he came to the practice the next day with the team, and although he wasn't officially on the roster, he would often travel with them, and when they made the NCAA tournament, he was part of March Madness. In the senior year, it came around, he said, well, I'm not going to go back because I knew I wasn't going to make the cut. But Kirill had called him back to help out with the junior varsity team, and he said 6 months later, he found himself on the roster and a member of the championship team for the league that year. But here's what he wrote. And I found that to be very poignant as I was researching this. He said, since I heard the news of Coach's passing, the world seems a little more muted. It seems less colorful. That's because Coach was such a bright, colorful light. He used to tell us that some of the guys he coached were light bulbs. Because when they came into the gym, he'd say the lights would go on. Of course, he probably said that to every team that he talked to. But he said the point was that excellence was the goal, and the most excellent, the light bulbs, made it easier for people around them. They made everybody better. They lit the way. And he writes that I appreciated that Kirill was that light bulb for us. His light was the most unique combination of intelligence, determination, humor, and caring. And he was very gritty, too, because he would use a lot of four-letter words. I used to watch practice, and it was very colorful. And he said, I'm so fortunate to have crossed paths with this legend. And he said, after some initial condolences, the coach never really brought up my father again. He said, what he did instead, he gave me something back that I missed when I needed it the most. He said the coach had a mantra of sorts that he mentioned in his Hall of Fame acceptance speech when he was accepted to the Hall of Fame of basketball. He said, think, see, do. He said, the way you think about things, he would say, affects what you're able to see. And what you see impacts what you do. Think, see, do. And he said, 35 years later, I understand better now what he thought about me. He saw what I needed and did what he did. And there were countless others of light bulbs, no doubt, but none was quite the same hue, intensity as Coach Pete Kirill. And he ended his letter, thanks, Coach, for everything. Coach Kirill was a light, someone who made a huge difference in that college student's life for the rest of his life. When anyone around us lets their light shine, it gives us the permission to do the same. There was a gentleman named Antonio Smith. And Antonio had overcome abandonment and homelessness. And he learned at age 6 how to use his mind to climb out of sleeping in a dumpster. And he would spend his entire childhood homeless. He was a ward of the state when he was 14 years old, and he aged out of foster homes when he was 18. And he said up until that point, he identified himself by his history, what had happened in the past, how he labeled himself, or other people labeled him. He identified himself based upon past experiences of being abandoned and a homeless orphan. But he said that somewhere along the way, he heard the message that his true identity was that of a spiritual being, and that he indeed was a light here to help light the world. And he said he had a revelation that he did not have to see himself as an abandoned, homeless orphan. That's a label that we can release and let go. And he said he went to a spiritual community and heard the speaker say what his true identity is. And that identity was reflected in the words that you indeed are the light of every person that comes into the world, and you can become anything you make up your mind to be. And Antonio took those words to heart, and he reclaimed his true self. He reclaimed his identity as a spiritual being. And to make a long story short, he became a 4-time best-selling author, a celebrity business advisor, and speaker. But the story demonstrates the power of what's possible when we claim and reclaim our spiritual identity, when we practice divine audacity and we let our light shine. So as we go through this Faith in Action series, we will see that it's not about putting anything in us, like we're walking around empty. No, it's simply about releasing the inhibitors that are hindering the flow from coming through us. So we do have to surrender the small self, the limited ideas, so that the divine self can come through. And we must declare, I suspend belief in limitations that seem inherent in my human existence. We must proclaim, I disregard appearances and hold a vision of what can be so that it must manifest. I stretch myself beyond my known capacity. Someone asked Ali one time, how many push-ups that he did. He said, I don't start counting till I start feeling the pain. He said that's when he started getting into his true self. That's when he began to catch his true identity. And he began to express that divine audacity that's within us. Sometimes we have an insight, a revelation like Antonio to help us remember our true self as light beings. Other times we're pushed by circumstances, by the challenges that we face, or the emergencies that show up in our individual or our collective lives. Sometimes emergencies move us and catapult us to move us deeper into expression of our true nature and being, and causes us and forces us to tap into that divine awesomeness we all have. But we have to remember our identity. And when we do, we realize we are here to be the great radiators of the divine spirit. I think when we remember that identity clause, that ye are the light of every man and woman that comes into the world, we know to be the light, we must plug into the source. We must acknowledge the light. We must admit that light. We must allow that light to so shine that people see our good works. So as we end today and prepare for the series, I simply ask you, are you willing to let your light shine? Yes. Oh, we have some faint yeses. Are you willing to let your light shine? Yes. Are you willing to step into your divine audacity? Yes. Are you willing to be all that you can be? Yes. I'm telling you, God wants you on display. Don't hide your light under a bushel. God wants you on display, enthusiastically shining the light. So let your light shine. After all, the trees do it. The flowers do it. And we, being made in the image and likeness of God, we can do it with divine audacity. Peace and blessings. Week we have an affirmation that goes along with the lesson for the week, and I invite us to affirm it together, and you can affirm it throughout the week as well. Let's say it together. I embrace bold spiritual living. I accept my divine identity. My light shines for all to see. For those who are online today, just to let you know, and also here today, next week I'll be back as we get into the heart of our Faith in Action series, speaking about the light of faith and understanding. And as we bring forth these principles from within out, we begin to express that divine possibilities we all have. And for those who are online and are watching us today, we thank you for your presence and your time. And we invite you to support Spiritual Life Center with your gift and your offering. And you can give to Spiritual Life Center by either texting SLC Love to 44321. That's SLC Love to 44321. Or go to our website, slcworld.org, and click the Donate tab, and it'll give you other ways you can give, including sending a check by mail. So we thank you for your presence and your consciousness. And for those who are present today, we invite you to take your gift or your love offering and symbolically raise it to the heavens, which is always expanding good. And know that you're in a flow of a principle that says we can never outgive the presence of God. And whatever we give out, it does come back to us in ways that we never imagined and in manners that we never thought of. So you may have given online. We're grateful for that. And if you're giving today, we're grateful for that. If you're giving tomorrow, we're grateful for that too. So with that, let us affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
We'd like to teach you a part so you can help us in this song. So I'm going to teach you, you're going to sing it, and then I'll let you know when it comes in. So here we go.
Do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do.
Let's try that out.
Do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do, do do do. First they took me down a road, not a road I'd ever seen. It was dark and it was cold, and mortal land and mortal gold. Fight or flight, this crazy ride to make you wonder what you know. All rise, hear the recommendation. All rise, sometimes the guide's disguised in pain. All rise, hear the recommendation. Meet the guide with an open light. All rise, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do, do do do. Then they came into my home. They knocked me down and took everything I own. I tried to see beyond alone, where empty makes room for something new and unknown. All rise, hear the recommendation. All rise, sometimes the guide's disguised in pain. All rise, hear the recommendation. Meet the guide with an open light. All rise, do 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 do, do 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 do. Do 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 do, do 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 do. Then they showed me to a shrine. It was tall and shimmering, it illuminated time. And my eyes followed up the line, and I could not conform, I could not confine. All rise, hear the recommendation. All rise, sometimes the guide's disguised in pain. All rise, hear the recommendation. Meet the guide with an open light. All rise, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do, do 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 do.
Doodle-doo. For those who, Deborah reminded me that if you want to download the workbook, we have that online. If you want to follow us each week for our Faith in Action series, it's available. And you can get all the affirmations and questions. And I think it's still going to turn to can they still sign up for a group? Kind of, sort of?
Kind of, sort of.
Okay. If not, just follow along.
Yeah, but if you're not in a group, you can still have the study guide. It's really
study
helpful.
guide is available. So let's take this moment just to connect with the presence and give thanks for those who have supported Spiritual Life Center with their gift, their love offering, and helping spread the word of possibilities of the human spirit. For as more and more people recognize and activate their divine potential, recognize that they're here to be the light of the world, then we begin to uplift not only ourselves, but everywhere that we go. We also affirm and give thanks for those who have left their prayers in the prayer box, and we bless them, knowing that all of us go through challenges in our life from time to time. And then we have to turn ourselves to a power greater than ourselves and know that this presence, this power, this loving energy has the answer. It has the answer even before we utter the prayer. For as that statement goes, before they call, I have already answered you. For this presence has all of the divine and perfect spiritual solutions for whatever we are going through or growing through. So as we go forth, we rest assured that this truth is with us. And this truth liberates us and sets us free. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. Let's join together as we affirm our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the presence of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, I am, and all is well. And that's the truth. Let us sing our peace song.
Here we go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow.